And then this is a super important one. So if you learn anything from this video, learn this. Hey, what's up? This is Chosen. Hope you're having a great day. This is going to be a Diablo 4 video talking about some of the optimal settings, key bindings, and stuff like that within the menus to make sure you take advantage of and take note of so that you can play the game effectively as we are getting super close to release. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so I'm going to breeze through these kind of quick and just kind of touch on some of the stuff that's most important to take note of when we're kind of heading into game. So right out the gate, the N for clan, that is going to be one that is not at the top of your mind. You're going to know the things like tab to bring up your mini map and stuff like that. And then also the collections screen, that's a big one to take note of, which is Y right here. So you can access your codex screen and all of that. Then hitting the J key right here, that's going to be what allows you to track your quests when you're trying to rush the campaign and all of that. And then Shift plus S will bring up your skills. A is probably the one that's a little bit more commonly used. That will bring up your abilities to go ahead and kind of spend your points within your tree. Like when you level up, you'll see a thing flashing to hit A towards the bottom right of your screen, if you're on PC at least. And then moving on, you're going to know most of the stuff on the screen, all the basics like town portal and stuff. But one thing you definitely want to take note of, especially if you're newer to the ARPG genre, you definitely want force move. Now that's what it's going to look like on default. You're not going to have a key there. So you want to do something, either change your evade, and space bar is a common one that people use for force move, but it's currently on the evade there for space. Some people like to use the middle mouse button, whatever it is, but force move is going to allow you to move through mobs without constantly stutter stepping to try and like left click to use your primary ability. There is also some things you can do with kind of some specialized settings in game that will allow you to change how that interacts a little bit, but nonetheless, the basic version is you're probably going to want to learn a force move key if you're going to be playing a lot of ARPGs. And then also for the mount system, a lot of you did not experience that in the open betas, or the closed betas, the server slam and all of that. Now, I was in on the private kind of testing phase of the game, so I have used the mounts, and you will want to learn this stuff because it's going to be very important when you're running around grabbing the altars of Lilith and all that to traverse the open world as fast as possible. And when you do unlock your mount, which by the way you will do, I believe it's at like the end of Act 3 or the start of Act 4, somewhere in there, you'll be probably around, I want to say like 25, level 25, if I'm remembering correct, is when you'll get your mount, level 25 to 30, somewhere in there. And you're going to hit Z to get on your mount and be able to traverse. And then you will be able to hit spacebar right here to speed up. It'll give you like a little bit of a burst of speed, and it's on a cooldown. So every time you hit the spacebar, your mount will speed up a little bit, and then you get like 3 charges, and you got to wait for them to come back and all that. It'll make sense once you use it. And then when you want to like fight mobs or do whatever, you would right click to get off of your mount. But then one that a lot of people don't really take advantage of, or they kind of forget about or don't know about, is the mount combat dismount, where you hit 1 and you kind of like jump off of your mount right there. So a couple things to take note of when you're diving in to learn the mount. Now, the action wheel, you're going to use this early on in the game. There is a quest where you have to like cheer the town guards, and this is a quest that confuses a lot of people. So you want to hit E and like scroll with your mouse wheel or whatever until you see the cheer option, and then you click on cheer and you'll complete that quest that you have to do like within the first 30 minutes of playing. And then also, similar to the force move key, the hold position key with shift is something that you're definitely going to want to start utilizing if you're going to be playing a lot of ARPGs, where you can kind of like force yourself to stay in place, whether you're like channeling incinerate or whatever you're doing. It can be a very, very handy key to kind of like lock in location. There's an aspect that allows you to do more damage if you're standing still and all of that. So the force move key and hold position keys are going to be ones you definitely want to take note of, and the hold position by default is shift. And then also for the last one on this page, this one is super important, the show item labels. Now, some people like to kind of like hit this to have it show for 10 seconds or toggle it on and off. I like to always have my drops showing in game, so I like to leave them on. This is one that gets adjusted a lot because a lot of people like to alt tab, and then your show item labels settings gets all out of whack because it just gets adjusted every time you alt tab. So take note of that, possibly change the key if you don't ever want that to be altered. And then this is a big one. This is one that comes up all of the time, and that is the frame rate display. Every time you're streaming or whatever, someone's asking, oh, I see your frame rate's there. How do you turn that on? It is Control plus R right there is how you turn on your frame rate. Then a couple quick social things you're going to want to know about when you're interacting in game. You all know the basics probably, like enter and all that stuff. I don't need to bore you by going over that. But one that is super handy is Shift plus R. Why does this thing keep getting bigger on me? Oh, it's probably because I'm changing it with my mouse wheel. Let's calm this down here a little bit. Okay, so reply to last whisper is going to be Shift plus R. The last person that like DMs you in game, you're going to be able to hit Shift R to reply to them. And then also being able to tab through all of your different chats. If you're in a party, if you're in a clan, the different chats in game, hitting tab will let you cycle through who your message is going to be sent to. And that is right here. Now this is obviously tab is going to like bring up the mini map and all of that. So this is like after you hit enter. You're in the chat menu, you hit enter, you can kind of tab through your different chats, and that will be a super handy command you want to know about. And then this is one that I didn't see a lot of people talking about or playing around with, but you can actually set a minimum quality for in-game drop sounds. You know how like when you're farming and something goes ting or makes a sound or whatever when it drops, you can set that to just rares. So like your blues and stuff won't make a sound when they drop, it'll just be the yellows. And then as you level up later in the game, you can adjust it if you would like. And then this is a super important one. So if you learn anything from this video, learn this. The advanced tooltip information under gameplay. That is not going to be on by default. And if you are a numbers nerd, if you like to see exactly what's going on, the roll ranges of different things, especially when you're learning the game, and you're not going to really understand what's a low roll, what's a high roll, something rolls plus 10% damage, and you're going to be like, okay, is 10% a good roll or not? Well, if the range is 10 to 30, that's a crap item. If the range is 5 to 10, that's an awesome item. And turning on the advanced tooltip information will arm you with that knowledge while you are leveling up and while you are learning the game. So if you get anything from this video, turn on advanced tooltip information. I think it should probably be on by default, but it isn't. So consider going into gameplay and then ticking that on. Now, as you learn the game, maybe you start to understand after 500 hours what's a good roll and what isn't, and you want your kind of items cleaned up a little bit, go ahead and dive into the menus and turn that off if you would like. But I think it's a great setting to have enabled when you're learning the game, especially kind of as the game is newly launching. And I can show you a situation where this ends up being important. So as you see on my aspect right here, you may have one additional Hydra active, but Hydra's duration is reduced by 11%. If you did not turn on the advanced tooltip for the more information, you'd be a new player leveling up and you'd be like, oh, okay, cool, it rolled 11%. Is that good or bad? Well, if you turn on that tooltip that I was talking about right over here, we can see the range is 13 to 10. So that would be an above average roll. Because the way this aspect functions is kind of similar to golf. It's like the lower, the better. So it's going to be reducing Hydra's duration, which is a bad thing for us. So we want that number to be as low as possible. So as close to 10 as we can get it. So then we would know, okay, the 11 roll is pretty solid. It's within 1 of 10. And the roll range on that one isn't too bad anyway, but you'll get some of them that have a very large range. And having that tooltip enabled will help you be able to easily understand that in game. And then this is going to depend on you personally, but I like to have these show damage numbers right here so I can kind of track how well I'm doing, see how well I'm hitting. If I'm hanging out with friends on Discord, I can be like, oh, okay, this skill was hitting the boss for this. What's yours hitting for? We can kind of theory craft back and forth and figure out who's doing what and be able to optimize builds a little bit. So consider turning on the all damage numbers while you're learning builds as well. And there we have it. Hopefully that helped you understand some of the menus and important things to take note of as you're launching Diablo 4 when it releases, and some of the things to really watch out and take note of. Now, let me know down below in the comment section. I would like that to be a resource as well. If there's anything that I should have mentioned that I forgot, or any certain settings that you really like, I would really enjoy hearing that input down there so people can read through the different comments of what other people like as well. So that'll do it for me on this one. Remember to subscribe on your way out if you enjoy daily Diablo 4 content. I appreciate you. I'll see you soon in the next video. Peace.